Right then, last October 2003, we invited the Oldham Tinkers to make one of the rare visits down to London, not to one of the BBC recording studios. We thought we'd put them in a much more convivial and natural environment. So we set up our recording gear round the fire in one of our favourite pubs near Broadcasting House, the Yorkshire Grey, or Studio YG1, as it's codenamed. We sat down there in the snug room, and the Tinkers struck up, and they opened with what's become really their signature tune. They always start the sets with this one.
Right, we'll start off with a nice Lancashire welcoming song called I'm Always Glad to See a Mon Like Thee, written by a man from Kent. There's an old chap lives down our street in a cosy cottage greenhouse, and on a Sunday morning when it's fine, I often goes and sits with him to have a smoke and chat, because he is a dear friend of mine. And when it's getting dinner time and dinner's ready then, I think it must be time for me to go. But he goes and hangs me hat up just behind the out front door, and then to my surprise I hear him say, what does he say? Hey, I'm always glad to see a mon like thee. That's as welcome, lad, as welcome as can be. Watch the cheer up to table, stop as long as thou art able, for I'm always glad to see a mon like thee. One day when I were sat with him, there came a loud rat-tat. There came a loud rat-tat on Jack's front door. Hey, a resort to open it, and there to his surprise, an hungry, tattered beggar stood outside. He asked Jack for a crust of bread. Jack looked him through and through, and then said, bless the heart, lad, come inside. And he went and hung his hat up just behind the out front door, and to the tramp's surprise he heard Jack say, every line rhymes, hey, I'm always glad to see a mon like thee. That's as welcome, lad, as welcome as can be. Watch the cheer up to table, stop as long as thou art able, for I'm always glad to see a mon like thee. Now that beggar did not eat a bit, but down his filthy streaming the tears came flowing like a shower of rain. He cried, Jack, dost not know me? Dost not know the long-lost brother? He's 50 years away now, back again. I've only put these clothes on, just my lad to try them, for I'm not poor but rich as honey to you. I'm not welcome to it all, and the wife and children too, and that's because me lad I found thee true. Itchy coo. Hey, I'm always glad to see a mon like thee. That's as welcome, lad, as welcome as can be. Watch the cheer up to table, stop as long as thou art able, for I'm always glad to see a mon like thee.
A Lancashire welcoming song, Judy. You said written by a man from Kent?
Written by a man from Kent, yes. It was written by Edmund Hill.
He was a Kentish miner, and he flitted to the St Helens at the turn of the century, and the people of Lancashire adopted that song, and they used to sing it in the trenches in the First World War, didn't they?
They did, to cheer themselves up.
To cheer themselves up.
And in fact, my mother used to sing that song, and your Granny Cooney used to sing that song.
Yeah, she used to sing it while she was pegging a washing out across Welbeck Street. And
Bernard Crowther, who lived at the top of Welbeck Street, couldn't get through. He'd be out with his horse and cart selling firewood. You could have oily or dry, couldn't you? But then he couldn't get back in afterwards because he'd be out with his horse and cart and going back up Booth Hill Lane. My Granny Cooney were pegging all the washing out, and he'd say, "Hello, Mrs. Cooney," and she'd say, "Hello, Bernard," and he'd say, would you mind just lifting all your clothes up while I get my horse and cart in?" and she used to do. They used to got on really well together, didn't they?
Yeah. You're listening to the Oldham Tinkers live here on BBC Radio 3. Well, actually, in the Yorkshire Grey, around the back of Broadcasting House, Studio YG1. And what have you got for us? What else?
This next song, in fact, we sang this in here last time we came. Really, what it is, it's a follow-on to the Mon Like Thee, and it's got the same sentiments as Mon Like Thee, really. But we've had our share of troubles in Oldham recently, so I thought, well, we must sing something to show what our true feelings. And this is really a follow-on to Mon Like Thee, and it's called Assalamalekum, which I believe is Arabic for peace be with you. We sing a song in Oldham town, it's called a Mon Like Thee, about welcoming and friendship and hospitality. It follows a long tradition in the county of Lancashire, of greeting strangers near and far with genuine words of cheer. Assalamalekum, 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 Walaikum salam. For cotton spinning, Oldham town was best in all the world, and many a nation's flags towards its cotton mills unfurled. There were Irish, Scottish, and the Welsh, Ukrainian, Pole and Jew, Czech, Lithuanian, Caribbean, Italian and Asian too. Assalamalekum, 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 Walaikum salam. You cannot tell an Oldhamer by the colour of the skin, the religion or the clothes. It's more what lies within. What Oldhamers call proper folk, genuine and true, who were friendly with a kindly word and generous to you. Assalamalekum, 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 Walaikum salam. So be your name Maria, Paddy, Safia or Mohammed, we extend a hand of friendship to you, lest you should be worried. We greet you in the spirit of our dialect poets free. With these words I'm always glad to see a Mon Like Thee. Assalamalekum, 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 Walaikum salam. Assalamalekum, 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 Walaikum salam.
Bonfire time next week, isn't it?
Put another bit of coal on that fire.
Bonfire time. You see, this is a chant that we used to sing as kids, and it's only just gradually faded away from the Oldham area, and it was particular to our area. The kids used to come round, sing this at people's doors for money. I think it was money. Come back near at time. They used to start in February. Come back near at time. But this is it, the chant and some others.
What they used to sing.
We come a cob-coaling for bonfire time. You're coaling your money, we hope you'll enjoy. Falladay, falladay, falladiddle-ide all day. Down in yon cellar, there lives an out feller, without on his cornish, putting out pepper box. Pepper box, morning till night. If you give us nowt, we'll steal nowt, God bless you, good night. Up a ladder, down a wall, a cup of coal, save us all. You haven't got a penny, if you'll do, you haven't got any, God bless you. We knock at your knocker and ring at your bell to see what you'll give us for singing so well. Singing so well. Reeves his pony let to trump, not poor Reeves it off his chump. Reeves his swore it pumps his rump, hurrah for Reeves his pony. Rosy, apple, a lemon, or a pear, gold and silver she must wear, a silver bridle by her side. She's the one to be his bride. Take her by the lily white hand, take her by the water, give her a shove and knock her out, for she's the miller's daughter. The corporation muck-cat was filled up to the brim. The corporation driver fell in and could not swim. He sank right to the bottom, just like a little stone, and then he started singing, there's no place like home, there's no place like home.
Thank you.
The muck cart, you saw John's a lot older than me.
The muck
but,
cart,
saw the muck cart.
they were the night soil men. They used to come and empty the petties, or the chemical lavatories, as it was called in those days. But they used to come under the shroud of darkness, really. But I remember as a child, I stayed at my Granny Cooney's, and one night something woke me up, and I looked through the bedroom window, and it was there outside. The muck cart, it had come. And there were two fellas, and one come in our yard, and he dragged our can out, and he was handing it up to his mate on the cart, but he wasn't ready for receiving it, because he was stuck with his arm down one of these cans. And my mate said, why? He said, what's up? He said, I've dropped my jacket. Oh, he said, well, you won't be for wearing that now. He said, I know. He said, but me dinner's in pocket. So that's the story of the Midnight Mechanics. That's where they come.
John,
Go on.
a lot of these songs, like that little medley you just did there of kids' songs when they came around knocking on the door near Bonfire Night, have a lot of these things largely disappeared now, do you think?
Well, Jerry will know best because
No,
he still teaches, Jerry. See, he knows the schoolyard better than me.
Well, they're a bit bigger now, the boys and girls where I teach, so they don't go skipping in the playground.
They don't do it,
No, I would have think a lot of these things have died out because of television, really, and people stay in and watch telly a bit more. I mean, we had no alternative at our age. We were still doing it.
And similarly, a lot of the songs that make up your repertoire, you've learned in, like, the pubs of Oldham, haven't you, over the years? Do people still sing in pubs? I don't hear it now, where I live in North London. Does it still happen?
Not as much. You might get odd singers at weekends, perhaps one night, whereas in the 60s and I mean, every night you could go walk through Oldham and there'd be music going on everywhere, in every pub, all night.
So what do you think of Studio YG1?
It's wonderful.
It's not bad for London, is it?
It's one. It suits me.
Very comfortable.
I feel at home anyway.
And, the waitress service is lovely.
It's gloomy, but we kind of like gloomy.
I like it. Yeah, I think it's important that we mention before we do this song that it was written by Mr. Keith Marsden, a Yorkshireman, God bless him. I mean, we're in the Yorkshire Grey we're in. And, yes, and it's called The Funeral Song.
Just to cheer us all up.
They wheeled the coffin down the aisle, and a choir boy sweetly sang. The organ played a requiem, one lonely church bell rang. He'd been a very quiet man, not given to a spree, so he stood alone to bury Dad, me poor old mam and me. Then all his other wives came in, weeping down the aisle. We had to send for extra chairs, they queued for half a mile. They came from near, they came from far, they filled up every pew. He must have been a Mormon, and me mother never knew, till all his other wives came back to share the Quabbam tea. And they brought a lot of kids with them that looked a lot like me. Now he'd been a travelling salesman, said he worked in ladies' tights. We always thought that was his job, not what he did at night. And though I'd known him 20 years, still I never would have guessed why when he spent some time at home, God, he needed so much rest. Then all his other wives came in, weeping down the aisle. We had to send for extra chairs, they queued for half a mile. They came from near, they came from far, they filled up every pew. He must have been a Mormon, and me mother never knew, till all his other wives came back to share the Quabbam tea. And they brought a lot of kids with them that looked a lot like me. Now the priests were old and feeble, and he made a bad job worse when he tried to marry mother to the man who drove the earth. And one wife rang to see if we were going to cremate, and could we keep him on a low light, for she thought she might be late. Then all his other wives came in, weeping down the aisle. We had to send for extra chairs, they queued for half a mile. They came from near, they came from far, they'd filled up every pew. He must have been a Mormon, and me mother never knew, till all his other wives came back to share the Quabbam tea. And he brought a lot of kids with him that looked a lot like me. One wife were only my age, oh, she'd a warm look in her eye. She said, "You're so much like your dad, it makes me want to cry. I only live in Peel Street, you must visit by and by. I've got something that your father liked, he wanted you to try." Then all his other wives came in, weeping down the aisle. We had to send for extra chairs, they queued for half a mile. They came from near, they came from far, they filled up every pew. He must have been a Mormon, and me mother never knew, till all his other wives came back to share the quap and tea. And they brought a lot of kids with them that looked a lot like me. God bless.
You're listening to the Oldham Tinkers on the Andy Kershaw programme. At this point, coming to you from the Yorkshire Grey, just round the back of Broadcasting House. And we've got Dave Howard on mandolin, John Howarth on the banjo and vocals, and Jerry Kearns also on the vocals and the guitar, and augmented by our very own Ralph Jordan.
We've dragged Ralph in, he's wonderful.
Ralph's got his mandolin with him and his little squeeze box. Let me just say thank you very much for coming to see us. Thanks for travelling all the way down here. Perhaps we should have done it in an Oldham pub. Well, we'll do it in Oldham next time. But been great to see you, and thanks very much. And what we got next, boys?
Join in the chorus, won't you, Andy? And everybody else. Well, how often they say that the kids of today, they don't know what real hardship is. And when I was a lad, that's what I got from me dad. And I'll bet that's what he got from his. 'Cause in me dad's day, they were all on low pay. His mother had nowt in her purse. And when she was a lass, there was even less brass, and things were a bloody sight worse. When I were a lad, oh, the times they were bad, but not quite as bad as when me dad were a lad. And when me dad were a lad, it were nearly as bad as when me dad were a lad. In the days long gone by, the summers were dry, the kids ran around in bare feet. Well, the sun was so hot, all your cares were forgot. It melted the tar in the street. Well, the sun was so strong, and the summers so long. For 12 months, that's all as we had. But what's more, I say, they're lucky today, 'cause by hell, their winters were bad. When I were a lad, all the times they were bad, but not quite as bad as when me dad were a lad. And when me dad were a lad, it were nearly as bad as when me dad were a lad. Now when I were quite small, we had no fears at all. You could walk down the street late at night. If you met someone else, all alone like yourself, you just smile and wish 'em good night. But it's not safe anymore when you walk through your door. Well, someone could kick in your brains. When we were young, we had flair, and we always fought fair, with flick knives and bicycle chains. When I were a lad, the times they were bad, but not quite as bad. When me dad were a lad, when me dad were a lad, it were nearly as bad as when me dad were a lad. When me granddad were born, longer dresses were worn. A girl had to cover her skin, and an ankle no more any man ever saw, except the butler when his luck were in. Now bare breasts are on view, ooh, to me and to you, every year when you walk on the beach. In the warm summer air, young girls everywhere show parts even lager can't reach. When I were a lad, all the times they were bad, but not quite as bad as when me dad were a lad. When me dad were a lad, they were nearly as bad as when me dad were a lad. Oh, when I were a lad, the times they were bad, but not quite as bad as when me dad were a lad. When me dad were a lad, they were nearly as bad as when me dad were a lad.
I love that. Look about flick knives and bicycle chains. Those are the Oldham Tinkers, recorded in a pub session in the Yorkshire Grey, near Broadcasting House, last October 2003. And the songs, Mon Like Me, they started with, Assalamalekum, the funeral song, and finally, When I Were a Lad. And the Tinkers' latest album is The Best at Bunch, and that's on the Pier label of Western Supermare. And I'm really sorry about us having lost that second part of the Tinkers in the pub session, because they did do about 3 times the amount that you heard there. But modern technology, it was digitally dumped. Had it been on tape, we'd still have it.